What about tuning your drums? I noticed you tuned your drum early. You guys were having a problem with the
yeah, the floor.
bass.
Well, depending on the room, the floor is kind of boomy, so I usually have to dampen it a little bit. Tuning is it's a new thing for me. My buddy Brian's taught me a lot of tricks, and
Brian from the Capones?
yes, Brian Smith. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's coming tonight.
Right on.
And he's sort of been like my drum guy for a long time. Like, he hooks me up with everything. He always tells me what to get and stuff like that. He's a bit of a drum guru. You know, you can read different books that'll tell you, you know, go for the same note around the lugs, or you know, whereas with Brian, he just kind of stands over and he feels it out and he just gives little taps, and he's an incredible drum tuner. And so I just kind of, depending on the drums, I mean, with these are pretty easy to tune, so I just kind of go by feel.
Okay.
Just by tension along the lugs, you know. I think it was my brother. He's like, you got to check out this band Nirvana. So I saw the video, fell in love. It was like, oh my God. Went out, bought the tape. A couple of weeks later, they were on SNL.
Yeah.
And I saw this guy, Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
One of my favorite drummers of all time. He just changed my whole style, changed everything. I was like, this is the kind of drummer I want to be.
Huh.
Musical, heavy, aggressive.
How old were you then?
I was about 14 when I started, 14, 15. So I remember that kind of changed my life. It just had this sort of, he has this sort of theatrical thing about him too, where he just takes on a persona when he's on stage, and I kind of like that.
You learned a bunch of tricks from Brian.
Yeah.
Like what kind of tricks?
Well, just tuning tricks, like just finding lugs. I even bought a little thing where it sort of measured the tension in your lugs, and that kind of helped me for a while. But now I just kind of feel it out, and it's just kind of, you know, going for the same kind of tension, like just along the lugs.
Right.
You know, you just feel it out. And the other thing is, I used to hit him really hard to tune, and Brian was always like, man, you got to go real light, go with your fingers, like just, and that's how you tune it, you know, just feel it out like that. Nice. That's a good trick. Also, just keeping the bottom head really tight so that I get more dynamic.
Right.
Get more boom out of it as well. What gets me grooving? James Brown, man. James Brown. Yeah, I've become a huge soul fan in the last maybe 4 years.
Oh, yeah?
4 or 5 years. My buddy Trevor got me into soul music, and that's changed my life in terms of even just the way I feel, you know? Give me some soul music and it makes me feel so good, you know? This is more of a rock outfit, so in terms of beats, I mean, I'm a big Bonham fan. Like I said, Dave Grohl. But it could come from anything, like even guys like Ringo is a huge inspiration, or John Densmore, The Doors.
Yeah, I noticed your triplets. You do a lot of triplets.
A lot of triplets, yeah. I love the halftime fills. I'm a big fan of that. It's very 60s, very 70s.
Yeah.
I always stretch before a show, always.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and I learned that from touring, because otherwise it takes a toll on you. And I used to get crazy backaches. I used to get tendonitis on my shoulder. So I stretch for about 10-15 minutes.
Oh yeah?
Stretch the hands a little bit, and it makes a world of difference. It also gets your blood flowing, so it wakes you up.
Sweaty?
Ideally I want to get on stage sweaty. That's the ideal. I think it was my buddy Tustin told me years ago, is like there's something that clicks in your brain when you're warmed up. Okay. And when you're nice and sweaty, you kind of get this focus. And yeah, it's very important. I mean, I've seen a couple of bands, like, well, bigger bands, that when they're touring, let's say arenas or something, the drummer has a drum set up backstage. Yeah. And he plays for 10-15 minutes and jams a little bit, so by the time they get on, he's hot and he's already like, you don't spend 3-4 songs trying to warm up, you know?
Cool.
So yeah.
Thank you very much. That's great. Thanks for coming on Drum World.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you.